Hello sweet beans, my name is Soleil and welcome back to the Little Reader's Corner. Today it's finally happening. We're finally doing it. We're doing a book haul. And listen, I believe we have 40 books here today. I'm gonna count really quick and let you know. But this is definitely all of the books that I have bought, hauled, found, been gifted since my last book haul, which was like in June or July. I like to do these whenever I feel like there's really something to share and talk about. Maybe I'll do them more frequently and they'll be a little bit smaller, but right now we have a huge amount of books to haul. All right, it looks like we have 34 books here today. They are stacked right here, right next to me, and they are organized by genre. So we have clearly prepared for today. So let's get started. First off, we are going to start with, I believe, the fantasy books, since there are a little bit more fantasy books than I think the other ones, or maybe they're just thicker. I think they're just thicker. So first, we have the lovely UK editions of the first 3 books of the Witcher series. Actually, 2 of these are collections of short stories, but don't think of them as short stories. It's more like ongoing narrative in smaller adventures that all are pulled together, because I don't like short stories, but like these aren't short stories. They are dynamic and wonderful. So let's take a quick little gander. The Last Wish, The Sword of Destiny, and The Blood of Elves. And these covers are absolutely gorgeous. I enjoy these quite a bit more than the US editions. The US editions, I love the artwork on them, but the glaring red on the covers is just too much. If you don't know what the Witcher series is about, it is a really dynamic high fantasy series about a Witcher who's basically a mutant of a human species, and he's basically faster, has higher senses, is really good at fighting, and he was mutated as a child, and now he is like this dynamic assassin, but he just kills monsters. And these are the English adaptations of the original Polish works, and my friend who is Polish has actually told me a lot about her experience reading the Polish editions and versus the English adaptations. The English adaptations did take a couple creative liberties with some of the Polish names, even though some they kept the same and some were translated, so that's interesting. But anyways, so we have these 3. Also, let's not forget this gorgeous illustrated edition of The Witcher: The Last Wish that I got from Barnes & Noble. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and it is just absolutely beautiful. I actually read this book in 24 hours and did a 24-hour reading vlog for it, where I showcased all of the gorgeous illustrations, gave live updates as I was reading it, and just beautiful. Next, we have The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter. This is the 2nd book in the Rage of Dragons series. I read the first book, Rage of Dragons, for Draconathon, which is a dragon-based readathon that myself and Jade from Jade Juniper host every year in August. And then actually for the 2nd year of Draconathon, I read The Fires of Vengeance. So this is a high fantasy series that takes place in kind of an alternate world, and there's a lot of dragons, there's warfare, there is a lot of discussion of violence, brutality, colonization, and a lot of kind of graphic and intense violent scenes. So just be aware of that if you want to check out these series. Phenomenal books, but they are adult fantasies, so they are quite a bit more violent, and the main character is just an absolute cinnamon roll of a human and needs to be protected, and he's just, you know, trying to fight for all the things. And if you read the first book, you know that there is a major cliffhanger at the end, and you're excited for this one. Next, we have the one, the only House of Sky and Breath. Yes, this is the 2nd book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I read the first one, I don't know time, maybe 2 years ago. I think it was 2020, and it was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. This is the 2nd one, and I am now maybe a 3rd way through. I am doing my best, but I work full-time and I do grad school, so I'm just dead inside most days. So, you know, when I am on my commute, or I'm doing laundry, or I'm cooking, is the only time I can listen to the audiobook version of this. But of course, I had to get the gorgeous hardcover version immediately once it came out. Whole story of me trying to get this. one day, if there's ever a reading vlog of my compiled thoughts of this, I will tell you that story. So this is kind of a more futuristic urban fantasy. So it is high fantasy, but it's also takes place in a more urban setting where there is technology, there's phones, there's dating apps, all of that. But there's also werewolves, and there are fae and angels and demons and magic and magical items and just all of the things. The first one was a little bit more of a murder mystery going on, where the main character was trying to figure out what happened to her friend. And this one is kind of still has a little bit of that investigation vibe going on, but a lot of other things. Also very, very spicy and a good read. And I actually have another Sarah J. Maas book. This is A Court of Silver Flames. It's either the 4th or the 5th, the 6th, who knows, the latest book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. I read this before I ever got the physical copy because I was reading it while I was at home with my parents and I couldn't afford or get my hands on such a large book. So I just read it on my tablet, and the absolutely lovely peach of a human, Katie from Katie's Book Nook, happened to have an extra copy and just sent it my way. So thanks, Katie. I now have like this physical edition in person, which is very exciting. Next, we have Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Now, I actually don't know what this is about at all. I just know Stephanie Garber, book. Yes, bring it to me. Also, if you're an adept viewer, you will notice that I'm holding a copy and I have one behind me, and yes, they are identical copies, but one of them is actually Maddie's, which I've had for like 4 months, and I need to give it to her as soon as possible because my Barnes & Noble account is somehow broken and I'm blacklisted from ordering anything off of there for no apparent reason. And Maddie was moving apartments and didn't know her final address while there was a pre-order for the Barnes & Noble exclusive. This is some kind of fantasy where, oh, clearly I haven't opened it. Something about true love, happy endings, wounded heart, the Prince of Hearts, 3 kisses, promised kiss, immortal dangerous game, tragedy, and those are the main nouns that I just read off of the summary. Sounds good. Next, I have the Owl Crate version of A Lesson in Vengeance. I plan on getting the regular edition as well because I have a problem, and this is a dark academia. If you want to actually hear my thoughts on this, I did a collab dark academia reading vlog where I was dark academia for 6 months this time. Yeah, it was 6 months this time. With Jasmine from Jazz Reads, we had an absolute blast. We took our sweet time because we're both in school and stressed all the time. So this is a sapphic dark academia that takes place in an all-girls boarding school. There is a writer who's trying to write this like dark murder mystery kind of story, and there's also this ongoing theme of witchcraft and these ancient practices that used to happen in one of the houses on the boarding school campus, and all of that kind of combines into this lovely work, and it's wonderful. Next, we have Gilded by Marissa Meyer. I don't know how I feel about this because I love everything Marissa Meyer. I have read, I think, every single one of her works. Maybe I missed one, but basically every single one of the books she has ever written. I've loved every single one of them. This is a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, as far as I'm aware. I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is. Fairy tale world with the haunting retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. But I read 20 pages of it and was not feeling it at all. So I had to quickly put it aside so that my views of this book wouldn't be tainted. I think it was because I was really stressed and trying to read this to relax and it wasn't working. So we will see, but it feels a lot more whimsical fairy tale middle grade than I want it to, but I've heard amazing reviews about it, so we're gonna put it to the side for now. Next, I have The Death of Jane Lawrence. This is by Caitlin Starling. This one, I remember seeing it on whoever the publisher, their website. Yes, St. Martin's Press. I remember seeing it on their website that it was coming out like a few months from whenever they posted about it, and I immediately pre-ordered it. It sounded fantastic. So it is practical, unassuming. Jane Shoringfield has done the calculations, decided the most secure path forward is this: a husband in a marriage of convenience who allow her to remain independent and occupied with meaningful work. But on their wedding night, she finds that he is changed. He is no longer this bold, courageous surgeon. He is a terrified, paranoid man, and this turns from reality into a nightmare. And it's kind of has like a darker academic vibe to it. It sounds a little more creepy, but in the way that I can handle, that I think would be enjoyable for me. So might say this for towards the end of the year, because honestly, I've read 2 books and it's March, so you know, we're just trying our best out here. So this one is a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a turn. I am attempting to do a 24-hour reading vlog with this. I'm not so sure if it's working because I don't know if this is really my kind of book, which will make it for a really interesting reading vlog once I finally get around to it. It is Ice Planet Barbarians. So this is a like fantasy sci-fi smut book, and I have heard that it is both ridiculous but also amazing. So I was like, you know what, this might make for a fun video. I'm gonna give it a try, not judge a book by its contents. Don't think I'm vibing with this at all. And it's not even, it's literally the fantasy and sci-fi elements of it. It's also other elements of it. That's for a whole other video, but if you've heard about this one, I don't think this is the one for me. I'm gonna try something different, but I have it now, so, and I'm going to finish it because I want to finish that video, so we'll see where we get. Now, the last one of this fantasy area also blends right into our graphic novel genre section, and that is the library-bound edition of Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Search. So, Katie, yet again from Katie's Book Nook, peach of a human, gifted this to me for my birthday, and I was beyond thrilled when this showed up on my doorstep. I do have the first volume of this graphic novel series that takes place after the TV show. The first one is The Promise. Yes, I have The Promise, but I just haven't had the funding to get the next one because these library bound ones are, as you would imagine. And Katie got it for me for my birthday, and I still haven't read it because I want to just have a whole day to digest this, and I'm so excited. And I mean, look at the Now on to more graphic novels. So we have Mooncakes. So I've actually talked about this one on my channel a couple of times, but I never had a physical edition of it. I just had the digital edition that I received as an e-arc, and I absolutely love this graphic novel, and I finally was able to obtain a copy, which is so exciting. I love it so much. I can't wait to reread it because I've actually only read it once at this point. Was meaning to reread it in October, November, but that was my first semester of grad school, so I didn't read anything besides for my course materials about international affairs and war. So, you know, I'll need an escape at some point, which might be this beautiful thing. This is about 2 young friends, a trans werewolf and a witch who uses a hearing aid, and they meet back up after not having seen each other for a while, and they have a really close relationship, and one character is able to help out their friend and get them out of this situation. And it is such a lovely story about family and friendships and food and communication, and it's just wonderful. Next we have Lore Olympus, and guess what? It's the Illumicrate edition. I'm not one for sprayed edges. However, if sprayed edges actually match the book cover and it actually makes sense, then I will be on board for the sprayed edges. So this is just absolutely gorgeous. I think it was Illumicrate. I'm not sure. I feel like they would say it somewhere, right? Maybe not. Anyways, so this is a graphic novel, a little bit more modern retelling of the story of Hades and Persephone, and it actually was originally a webtoon. It was the most popular ever read webtoon as far as I know, and has since then now been adapted into physical format. The second volume is coming out sometime this year, as well as the third volume, and Barnes & Noble has beautiful exclusive covers of them as well. The art is gorgeous and just wonderful. Next, we have another exclusive. I believe this is also a Lumicrate, maybe? Fairy Loot. This is Fairy Loot. Maybe the other one was Fairy Loot as well. So this is a Fairy Loot exclusive hardcover edition of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman, one of my favorite graphic novel series, and as a hardcover with sprayed edges. As I said, I'm not a fan of sprayed edges, but you know, it actually matches the cover well, so I'll take it. I will gladly take it. Also just gorgeous. Okay. Anyways, so got this one. Also, I just ordered the second one in this exclusive edition set, so I'm very excited about that. And then we also have volumes 3 and 4 of the UK editions. So I don't know if I ever mentioned this. I do have volumes 1 and 2, except 1 is the UK edition, 2 is the US edition, and they are slightly different, and it bothers me greatly. And I actually prefer the UK edition because the US edition is in blue, but not like a thematic blue. It just is, and these are just in black and white, and they're slightly bigger, and I like the feel of the UK covers more. So I now have these two. I've actually read through, I know I read through where the third volume is. I'm not sure if I'm caught up through the fourth volume. I think I've at least done like half of the fourth volume. But I've read all of these online, and you can read them all online as well from Alice Oseman's website. So yay, but now I have these. And now we have 2 more graphic novels that I was planning on reading during the fall, and now I'll plan on reading them at some point in my future. So I actually read half of this one. This is Sheets by Brenna Thumler, and it's just about this cute little ghost character who somehow is stuck in between worlds. And I think only one character throughout this story can see the little ghost, and they're both going through some things. I mean, the little ghost, like, he's stuck, and the other character is working at her parents' laundromat, and they're trying to get by, and she's going through a lot of bullying at school. And that's about where I'm at right now. So super cute, very definitely fall themed. The other one I have is Seance Tea Party by Raymana Lee, and this one looks super cute as well. This is about a group of friends, and that's all I really know about it. They play outside, they use their imagination, they have fun, and they want to have a magical tea party to introduce 2 ghostly friends to the other group. So this looks super cute and cozy, and we all need to take our minds off stresses somehow, so this is that. All right, that was all of the graphic novels. So now let's move the contemporaries over. So I believe these are all contemporaries. I have one nonfiction / contemporary, which I will share first. So this is honestly the most anticipated release ever. And I am so beyond thrilled, like absolutely flabbergasted excited that this happened. And the moment I saw the news, I freaked out. I have been following this person for at least 10 years now, which is absolutely bonkers. So this is the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows. The YouTube channel Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows has been going on for at least 10 years, and basically the creator, John Koenig, he makes up words that don't exist to describe feelings that we are all familiar with and just make sense. There are these obscure sorrows that are out there in the world that we just don't have the words for, and he made them into a book. And already those YouTube videos and everything were everything in my entire life. So now it's a physical format Simon & Schuster book, and I am just losing everything here. So it is divided up into a couple different parts. Let me just give you a quick idea of some of these words. So the most well-known one from this collection that people have probably heard of since its creation is Yonder, the realization that each random passerby is the main character of their own story in which you are just an extra in the background. We have Kairos Klerosis, the moment you look around and realize you're currently happy, consciously trying to savor the feeling, which prompts your intellect to identify it, pick it apart, and put it in context where it will slowly dissolve until it is little more than an aftertaste. All these words that John created are completely taken from other words in multiple different languages, pieced together from Greek, Latin, Japanese, German, Russian, Mandarin, a whole array of languages that already have pieces of these ideas in other words, but then combining them to get the full idea. And it's just, I am just so happy that I have this in a physical format now. I am beyond just everything. I need to stop talking about it because I will go on for ages that this is real. Okay, now on to the contemporaries. So kind of contemporary, but with a twist. We have Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is a time travel fiction book. It is originally translated from Japanese, and this is basically a story that takes place in one coffee shop where time travel can happen. So people can go into this coffee shop, but there are a couple stipulations. You can only travel back in time to something that happened within that coffee shop. You can't make any changes, so no matter what you say, no matter what you do in that past, nothing will change in the current moment. So with those stipulations, a lot of people are like, not really worth it. But this goes over a couple short moments and instances with the different people that tried to utilize this for different reasons. And I started it, and I need to finish it, and it's very good. Next, we have 2 books by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this one I have already read. This is Forever Interrupted. This is a story about a woman who loses her fiance, and it's basically about the emotional journey that she goes through after that. And the way it's told is just absolutely phenomenal. It is heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, and just a beautiful story of connection and love and loss. It's told through 2 different ongoing moments in time. There is the moments before and the moments after the loss happens. And throughout the present moment after the loss, there are instances that bring the main character back to those past moments, things that remind her of memories, and you learn more about the relationship as the book goes on. Beautiful, phenomenal. Now, because I enjoyed that book so much, and because I enjoyed every other Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I have read, including Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, and Malibu Rising, and now Forever Interrupted, I wanted to pick up this one, and this is Maybe in Another Life. This is about 29-year-old Hannah, who makes a choice after breaking up with her boyfriend and finally returning to her hometown. And then all of a sudden she hesitates and she has to make a final decision about her life. And then after that, the story kind of diverges and happens in 2 concurrent different storylines about what would happen based off of which decision she had gone through. So you can see what goes on in her life based off of that main decision. And I haven't read it yet, but I am so excited. I love these kinds of things. It's like a type of subgenre of time travel where you see 2 different timelines, and I'm very thrilled. And next we have 2 Sally Rooney books. We have Normal People and Beautiful World, Where Are You? So I've actually read Beautiful World, Where Are You? And I didn't love it, but I did enjoy reading it, and I think I kind of nailed down what I wasn't enjoying about it, but it's very specifically that it was things done on purpose, if that makes sense. So this is about 4 characters, and they're going, I believe they're in their late 20s, maybe early 30s. They are going through life. Things are chaotic, things go wrong. They get together, they break up. They're trying to figure out who they want to be, and then it's them in their own separate lives, and then whenever they come together. And it's messy, and there are morally gray characters you don't really agree with, and it just kind of showcases those moments in life. So because of that, it's very much just showing characters and their lives, so there isn't much of an ongoing plot during that, if that makes sense. Anyways, so because of that, I really want to read Normal People. I did watch the Hulu adaptation TV show. I've heard from a lot of people that they love Sally Rooney's writing. After reading Beautiful World, Where Are You?, I definitely want to give another shot to one of these, since I do think that I would enjoy her work. So this one is specifically about two teens in high school, one who is kind of really popular and well liked, and the other who's much more of a loner and doesn't have a lot of friends. They kind of strike up a relationship, and they are kind of on again, off again, and develop this close bond as they leave high school and go on to college. They both have their own lives that get messy and diverge, but always come back together again. So definitely feels like there's kind of an ongoing theme with Sally Rooney's writing, which is so character driven and is exactly the kind of books that I would enjoy. Next, I have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and this was recommended by my friend from grad school, Hannah. Hi Hannah, if you ever watch this video, what's up? How you doing? So we were at the Amazon physical bookstore, and we were looking around, and she said that she absolutely loved this one and that I should definitely read it, and it sounds like something I would enjoy. And I actually haven't heard that many people talk about this one. I kind of knew about it in the periphery of my mind, but hadn't given too much thought about it. And I think it just sounds like exactly my kind of book. So, meet Eleanor Oliphant. She struggles with appropriate social skills and tends to say exactly what she's thinking. Nothing is missing in her carefully timetabled life. I feel like this is a direct call out to myself. Thanks, Hannah. Oh, where weekends mostly consist of frozen pizza, vodka, and phone chats with mom. But everything changes when Eleanor meets Raymond, the bubbling IT guy from her office. Never mind, this is not inspired by my life. Never mind. Whose big heart will ultimately help Eleanor find the way to repair her own profoundly damaged one. Maybe this is a future calling to me. Maybe I will meet someone nice. Sounds fun. So yeah, I'm very excited. And I also just noticed soon to be a major motion picture produced by Reese Witherspoon. Oh my god, I think I remember hearing about that like tangentially. I think I remember hearing about that tangentially, but that's wild. So there we go. Then of course we have Bridgerton, the Viscount Who Loved Me. I read the first Bridgerton book, The Duke and I. The Duke and Me? The Duke and I? It's something like that. And I read that one with Bettina from Book Looks by B, and we enjoyed most of it. The last part was a lot, but it sounds like we were on the same page with most people who read that one. And I have heard from a lot of people who read this second one that this was actually their favorite in the whole series. The second season is coming out at the end of March. It's about time I pick up the next one, and I'll ask Bettina if she has time to read it with me, but I know she's busy, I'm busy. We're all just trying to make it through. And then we have The Marvelous Mirza Girls by Sheba Karim. So this was actually in my little free library, and I remember that Jen from Jan Agden had talked about this one and how much she loved it, and it was kind of a Gilmore Girls vibe. And let's take a little look. After Noreen's aunt Sonia dies, Noreen stops writing her funny scripts and isn't excited about graduation or college. When her mom Ruby is offered a work opportunity in New Delhi, Noreen comes along, hoping India will alleviate her grief and bring her voice back. In the world's most polluted city, Ruby is thrown into work, and Noreen struggles with being a girl who looks Indian but is 3 generations removed, and being a woman constantly subjected to the male gaze. Soon Noreen meets kind, handsome Kabir, who introduces her to the jinn and other Delhi wonders. But when scandal erupts, they all must face the complicated questions of what it means to stand by someone and what are love's boundaries. So this sounds amazing. I'm so excited to read this. It just sounds so cute, and also just I finally got the physical edition of Emma Lord's When You Get the Chance. I read this as an e-arc and I loved it so much. It was one of my favorite books of 2021, even though it didn't come out until 2022. So I was overjoyed when it finally came out and I could have a physical copy of this book. I loved it so much. Emma Lord's writing is just absolutely phenomenal. I think she makes such honest and well-written characters. It's just bonkers. And this is a story about Millie Price, who lives in New York, and it is her dream to make it on Broadway. She is everything musicals, everything acting, everything theater. She loves Mamma Mia, and she's been raised by her single dad. She doesn't know who her mother is, and it's not something that her dad has ever really talked about or brought up. But one day she finds his live journal entries, and she finds out that there are actually 3 women who was with her dad around the time that she could have been conceived. And so she decides to, Mamma Mia style, find these women, learn a little bit about them, and try to figure out who could be her mom. Throughout this journey, she makes a lot of other fun connections. She gets this job, and she has this rivalry going on with this other kid in her class. It is so good. There are some fun twists and turns. It is full of Broadway and theater references, Mamma Mia references. Lovely book. Of course, we have a Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. So I have been talking about this book so many times, so I will keep it very brief this time. Since I've already discussed it in my favorite romance books video, in my favorite books of 2021 or 2022 video, and I did a whole vlog about it, and I've talked about this book a lot, but I finally got a physical copy of it because I also read it as an e-arc, and I'm so happy to be holding this book. What you should know is that this has a bisexual main character. It takes place in a high school. There is this like love guru advice locker where she tries to give out love advice even though she's never been in a relationship of her own. There are a lot of fun characters in it, and it just has wonderful representation through the roof, is so well written, is so fun and relatable, and is just a wonderful book. Now we have Anna Holidays by Christina Lauren. So I heard about this book quite a bit for the end of 2020, I think, and I decided to get it for a little holiday relaxation book at the end of 2021 for the holidays, and it was wonderful. It was perfect. The only thing was that every single time I had heard someone talk about it previously, when they were talking about how wonderful of a book it is, the romance aspects, all these things, no one mentioned the time travel. I love time travel. I am all about the time travel, and no one said anything that the entire plot of this book is a time loop story where they are reliving the same Christmas weekend over and over and over again, and the main character is trying to find out why this is happening, what the universe is trying to tell her, and what she needs to do differently and get right. The romance is fantastic. Of course, as time loop stories go, there are moments of frustration and annoyance, and it's just so good. Now, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, a very good book. Wait, I didn't read it. Oh my God. Now, People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I love all books by Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry so much. I haven't read this one yet because I have a personal anxiety trigger about one of the main pinnacle aspects of this book. So we're just holding off on that for some time until a later moment when maybe I won't be as anxious about it. But in the meantime, I'm very excited to one day read this because I've heard great things about this book. This is about 2 best friends who I think have been consistently going on vacation with one another, and at some point there is a romance that starts, and it's world-shattering, world-ending, all those things, and then something goes wrong. It takes off years later where these 2 characters haven't been speaking since then, and they want to reconnect, so they try to do a vacation again to get that connection started again. So one day when I can read this, I can't wait. And the last book is in the miscellaneous genre category because I don't really know what this is, but I forgot to cancel my book of the month. It's a subscription after I only wanted to get one book, and I had to choose one, and this one sounded kind of interesting. So here we are. I chose A History of Wild Places. So what is this book? I don't know. Let's see. Travis Wren has an unusual talent for locating missing people. Hired by families as a last resort, he requires only a single object to find the person who has vanished. When he takes on the case of Maggie St. James, a well-known author of dark, macabre children's books, he's led to a place many believe is only a legend. Known as Pastoral, this reclusive community was founded by like-minded people searching for a simpler way of life. So a cult, perhaps, or just people living it out like Captain Fantastic. But soon after Travis stumbles upon it, he disappears, just like Maggie St. James. Years later, Theo, a lifelong member of Pastoral, discovers Travis's abandoned truck beyond the border of the community. No one is allowed in or out, not without the risk of bringing a disease, the rot, into Pastoral. Unraveling the mystery of what happened reveals secrets that Theo, his wife Calla, and his sister Bee keep from one another. Secrets that prove their perfect isolated world isn't as safe as they believed, and that darkness takes many forms. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Not my kind of general genre, but as I mentioned with, I think it was The Death of Jane Lawrence, there is a small subsect of thriller mysteries that is very much my vibe, and this sounds really good actually, so I'm glad I happened to stumble upon it. And with that, those are all of the books. So I know this has been a lengthy video. Maybe I'll finally do some book hauls that aren't twice a year. Let me know what book you recently purchased that you are super excited to read, or you have recently read that you really enjoyed. I would love to hear some recommendations from you all, and hopefully I'm able to read some of these at some point. I'm not going to say soon because I am beyond overworked, tired, and stressed. So there's that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. I will leave some suggested videos at the end of this if you want to watch some more. That might just be up your alley. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and definitely subscribe, especially if you made it this far in the video. You'll definitely want to be notified next time I post a new video. And until next time, bye!